Hello to everyone joining us for this episode. It's been a while. I'm picking up things back in our home port of Victoria, standing on the same raggedy wooden docks where our journey first began. It's a short visit to a marina that once felt like home. The creaking planks, the clanking halyards, the smell of seaweed at low tide, and the familiar faces that made those early days so memorable. It was where we dreamed big, learned hard lessons, and imagined what life could look like beyond the breakwater. But once we finally sailed away, everything shifted. The marina became a reminder of who we were before the ocean shaped us. A place we return to now only to see how far we've come. After a summer of working hard on land, that craving for salt and freedom came back strong. And it was time to return to Sitka, to the life that we love most. Welcome back to Sailing Sitka. It's been a minute, I know, but we're happy to see you. Here's what's been going on.
Did you miss us? Because we missed you! We're back!
We were supposed to splash 3 weeks ago, and then out of our control couldn't splash, and then we were supposed to splash today, and then the travel it broke again, and then we heard the beep beep, and like now it's working. So let's touch wood that it keeps working for the next hour so we can hit the water.
Here Sitka sat for 6 months while we worked back home, but now we've returned for another sailing season. First, tackling projects one by one and getting her back into ship shape, literally. It's become our yearly rhythm, rolling up our sleeves, bringing Sitka back to life, and getting her ready, pretty, and prepared for a new and exciting adventures ahead.
Also, you guys, this wheel is larger than me. I know that's not much to beat, but it's still pretty freaking insane. This thing's huge! Just like that, everybody, we are floating!
Yeah, it's a good feeling.
Oh my god.
Now it's go to the dock. It's always nerve-wracking docking after like 7 months of not steering a boat.
It's all nerve-wracking after leaving your boat for 7 months. But we are floating and we are en route to our dock slip. But man, does this feel good and wobbly. I don't have my sea legs yet.
It felt surreal to finally be back in the water. After so many delays, there was a moment where we thought we'd never reach the finish line. But now that Sitka's bum is officially wet, we can jump into projects that needed us afloat. First up, diagnosing those stubborn bubbles in our Raycor filters. You know, the ones that killed the engine a few times last season, gave Jay more gray hairs, and sent my anxiety through the roof. Okay, cue Jay's deep dive into all things boat related.
There's a bit of bubbles, but we introduced air yesterday when we took the hose, but it wasn't like the big one bubble, so we'll see. So it's looking like, I don't know if you guys remember, but last year I kept saying it could be a combination of two things. It could be either the pickup tube or the fuel lift pump. So we figured out that the fuel lift pump wasn't getting power. So it was working last year, but sometimes it wouldn't work, and we tap it And then we voltage tested it today, and it was only 2 volts there, and our batteries are like at full, they're at 13.7. So what we did is we tried to trace the wire back. We found a wire that looked suspect, like really suspect actually. Like, I'll show it to you.
I have a picture.
Okay, so anyways, I took that out thinking maybe it was it because it was in that same bundle. I changed that, but it was probably just a random wire that wasn't going to no sensors because it didn't change nothing. So then, because we have a spare pump, we bought a brand new pump just in case, and we brought it down with us from Canada thinking that the pump might be the issue. So anyways, we got a whole new power setup installed there, tested the voltage before plugging the pump. We had like 14 at that point because the batteries were getting charged. So now, before we used to have to activate the pump from the engine panel, which is good and bad. It's good because it's at the panel, but it's bad because when you want to bleed the fuel, you needed 2 people because you need 1 person out here and 1 person by the filter that's on the engine. Now I put the new power supply with its own switch right next to the filter, so 1 person can actually bleed the engine without requiring a second person to be outside. So that's a plus. So we plugged that in and it worked right away. The pump turned on as soon as we put the new power supply to it with the new switch. So flicked that on, pump went on. So okay, perfect. The only thing now we have to remember is when we turn the engine on, we have to physically turn the actual pump on, which luckily it's right next to the through hull, which if you guys have been following for a while, you guys know that we always open the through hull just before flashing up the engine, and we close it right as soon as the engine's off. The engine will run without the pump because we just motored all the way from the boatyard to here without the pump working. The problem is when you're in heavy sea state, which is where all our problems happen, is when we're like climbing these big seas and then the engine would rush and chase. It can't bleed enough, and also our tank is aft of our engine, so you got to imagine like the tank's here, the engine's here. When we're going up big seas and the tank is lower than the engine, there's not enough power from the mechanical pump and the high pressure pump inside the engine to create enough suction to pull enough fuel at high RPM to feed the engine so it would starve. So you need that pump to run, especially in big seas. So anyways, now that the pump is 100% working, we know that for a fact. We still have a brand new spare in case the pump does end up failing at some point.
In other words, it ensures a constant fuel supply. It delivers a steady flow of fuel to the engine, especially important during heavy loads or high demand situations, and prevents fuel starvation. It also reduces strain on the injection pump and improves overall fuel filtration. Now that we've rewired the pump, we're confident that that was the issue all along. And we're excited to test it out at sea in a few weeks, when we can get Sitka moving again and head out to the San Blas Islands for this sailing season. Just a couple more projects and one good weather window away from paradise.
I felt it in my body. You want to see? Ready? Ready, take it.
Yeah, they're getting gusts up to 40 over there. It's not as bad in here, but
I took advantage of being plugged into shore power and went on an absolute sewing mission. First up were the dinghy chaps. 7 days straight, 2 broken needles fighting their way through Sunbrella, $500 worth of fabric, and most importantly, my sanity. But once I finished them, I was feeling a little high and mighty.
I friggin' made that.
So naturally, I dove straight into even more projects. An anchor windlass cover, a binnacle and wheel cover, and all new interior curtains. It was a lot of work, and I definitely made do with the skills and experience that I don't have. But somehow, piece by piece, it all came together. Voila.
I'm showing the people.
Showing the people that I
Oh,
made
the
this
cover.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's very pretty. Look at it.
It's not pretty, but it's
It is pretty. We didn't have black thread, but now it's a cool style. If you notice the color, it's the same color as for the chaps, the dinghy chaps.
yeah.
This looks a lot nicer. Good job, my love.
And I do not film my sewing projects because guess what? I don't know what the hell I'm doing, so I can't direct you guys with information that is not correct. I just kind of
mix it up as she goes, but it always turns out great. So,
well, you know, this isn't Sailrite. I don't have a hot knife. I don't have a table to lay it out on, which they ask you to do in the videos, and I don't have a Sailrite sewing machine, so I have a broken 1969 Viking that doesn't even want to sew one single thread, but here we are.
Yeah, you do with what you got around here.
The next day, we set off on a soggy little adventure, weaving our dinghy through the jungly mangroves to the neighboring marina.
Welcome to the jungle!
At Pana Marina, we met a guy interested in buying our old outboard, the one whose pull cord gave up on life. Since we treated ourselves to a shiny new 2-stroke last season, we don't really need the old engine anymore. So, there we were, reassuring him it still runs. It's just a bit of a character. For the right price, he was happy to take it off our hands and tinker away with it himself. Even on the rainy days, we still somehow managed to keep the smiles coming.
What are you doing?
I'll give you a clue. They call me Wax Boy.
Do they really? Do the wax on, wax off. This person behind you saw that.
As the last projects disappeared from our list, the excitement started to kick in. Time to start scouting for a weather window to finally slip away towards the Paradise Islands of San Blas. But before we can chase sunshine, we gotta provision hard and fill Sitka to the brim with food, water, and diesel.
Yeah, we still don't have a water maker. That being said, we did 2 years in Mexico, and Mexico is the hardest place to do without a water maker. So if you can do 2 years in Mexico without a water maker, here it's pretty much easy because A, here the water's drinkable. So and 2, it rains, so you get fresh water that way as well. Whereas in Mexico, sometimes there's like 700 miles where there's really no water available.
I guess we never showed you guys, but we got Panama Canal tattoos for when we transited on the 21st of December.
Yeah, we got these done back home in Canada when we got back. With the date that we did the canal, which is kind of cool. It's a real stamp.
Well, when it opened.
Yeah, 1914 is when it opened.
Yeah.
I believe. So yeah.
Pretty cool.
Smokers!
A stroll into the jungle was needed to finish off our provisioning list, since the nearest grocery store was a town over and about a 20-minute walk away. Luckily, we tackled most of our big provisioning in Panama City and only needed a few more items. The walk itself was beautiful, dense, colorful, alive, and fragrant. It was also the first day in a while without rain, which felt like a well-earned break. With months aboard Sitka ahead of us, we figured we should stretch our legs while we still could. Out in the islands, a couple miles is about all the land that you get before the ocean takes over. It's a pretty wild and fascinating life that we've chosen. It was that time again. Time to move onwards, upwards, and forwards. We pointed Sitka's bow away from mainland Panama and towards the San Blas Islands, towards easier and hopefully stress-free days in paradise. We're as ready as we could be, stocked to the brim with everything that we need, and fixed in areas that needed attention. We feel confident, ready, and prepared for our sailing season ahead of us. We couldn't be happier to feel the excitement and motion of the sea beneath our feet again. It's what we work so damn hard to experience every year. And finally, we are here for another season of this beautiful, testing, and life-altering journey together.
Touching wood, but we flashed up the engine at 6:30 this morning. And we left at 6:45 a.m. and it's now noon, around there. And we've been running at 2,000 RPM. So far, no issues. We're doing between 5.8 and 6.7 knots. That Sitka's got a clean bottom, clean prop. It's going good. Not a lot of wind right now, but it's good because we want to really give the engine a good running. Because last season, if you guys remember, we weren't able to run the engine at high RPM starting in like late December, early January. So she's due for it's good to run an engine so it gets hot and burn off all that shit. So that's what we're doing.
As we approached the islands, that familiar feeling of coming home washed over us. We spent months exploring this place last season and still didn't even scratch the surface. Now, with a reliable engine back in action, as she proudly proved us today, and a handful of new upgrades and improvements, we're ready to dive deeper into this beautiful and exciting region of the world. This is our first season where we're truly staying put, soaking in the highlights of cruising, living life on the hook, embracing a simpler rhythm, and moving only when we want to, not because we're chasing miles or following a schedule. It feels freeing on a whole nother level. We're excited for this season, and we're excited to share it with you all. Sailing Sitka will keep posting and updating, but only when we have the time, the footage, and the creative spark. Not because we feel the need to satisfy the analytics of this platform. So, for now, that's all. We'll have more to share when the moment feels right. Until then, thank you for watching and being a part of this journey. Take care of yourselves, do something that makes you happy, and chase whatever makes you feel alive. For now, we're signing off with all of our love from yours truly.